Make it.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty darn snazzy.
Yeah?
Snazzer size.
Why would you say it's snazzy?
It just felt like the right word to use.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good word.
What word would you use?
Snazzy as well.
Yeah, see? It fits for the day.
That is the word of the day.
Word of the day. We've got a big trip to Cape Breton planned this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a private house concert
Mm-hmm.
that I've been doing for a number of years, maybe 6-7 years. A little spot on the Bredor Lake with some great friends. I got another show at Big Spruce on the Sunday. And we're staying at an Airbnb that some friends are hooking us up with.
Snazzy,
Yeah.
isn't it? Welcome to Make It with Mike and Kristen.
Where creative people talk about what they make and what making it means to them.
Mm-hmm. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Bryn Pottie, who is a comedian and a writer. He's worked on so many projects, it's hard to even keep track of. But this particular talk, we focused on his new book called The Great Lunenburglary.
Yeah, he's a great guy. First time for both of us meeting him. Just funny guy, just easy to talk to. Lots of good stories and lots of little anecdotes to throw in. But not really nice guy. And we didn't get to read the book yet, but it sounds very funny, very amazing. About a group of people stealing the Bluenose. And if you're from Nova Scotia, you know what a crime that would be.
Fun crime. It's a group of teenagers. I actually love his elevator pitch. He's able to kind of summarize his whole book in the one sentence of, it's about a group of teenagers steal the Bluenose. And we're all like, oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a catchy way of describing his work. And I know that he's put so much effort into everything from the cover art to his promotional tour. And with his comedy background, I'm sure the book is very entertaining.
Yeah, it's gotten great reviews and it's been selling like crazy. And you can pick it up at your local bookstore, folks, if you're looking for a copy. A fun read from a nice local Nova Scotian artist.
Yeah, you can probably guess where he's from with the title like that.
Yeah.
Lunenburg County, which is just right around the corner from us. So it feels like one of our neighbors is in the studio. I know he spent a fair bit of time in Toronto with his education and then his early work career, but certainly happy to have him back home. And I know he talked about a number of tourists that would have picked up his book this summer, and we're always excited to have a local author highlight Nova Scotia and one of our most cherished symbols, the Bluenose.
The South Shore, where he's from, and we're kind of at the entrance to. We're still part of the HRM, the Halifax Regional Municipality, where we're at, but we're kind of just on the cusp of it. But the South Shore is a pretty special place, and it's kind of our stomping ground. When we go do something, we don't really go into Halifax anymore. We go down the South Shore, and it's feels like home in a way now.
We have everything we need right here in our little neighborhood.
Yeah.
And whenever friends come to visit, we often take them sightseeing in that direction rather than downtown now. But that's
Hubbard's,
probably a creature
Chester.
of our, just comforts of getting older and not wanting to deal with traffic and parking and all that nonsense, huh?
Yeah, and we just announced that the last two events at Togetherland, I'm going to be playing there with my band, the Town Heroes.
October 24th and 25th at
Yeah.
Togetherland. They're really, well, by the time this episode airs, there may not be any tickets left, but we're down to the wire. There's just a handful as of today.
Get your tickets, folks, if you want some. We want to celebrate together. It's going to be an awesome night. 2 nights, awesome 2 nights, and just excited to play there. But it's going to be emotional, too, because it will be the last events there at Togetherland.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to just stay neutral with everything until that night comes, but I know that Yeah, it'll be emotional in that it's our last night there, but I know that a number of our friends are coming to share the evening together. And that's always the part that it's not even that out of sadness, it's more that I'm moved that makes me emotional. And I know it will be one of those nights just with so many beautiful people sharing it with us.
Yeah, and the things that happen along the way there, that's all that matter. We created a community. So many good people came into our lives, so many good concerts, events, just workshops, and they'll live forever.
They'll live forever. And we'll continue to grow community here in our Hot Jupiter Sound studio, and all of the wonderful guests that we've just been so honored to meet, Bryn being one of them, and a new friend and a new creative in our network. So let's introduce him to our listeners.
Well, folks, tune in. Bryn Pottie, the Great Lunenburglary.
Ooh.
Make it.
Michael Jordan. Like, it's just kind of like
Michael C. Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not. You really expect that I'm going to be good. It's going to be a good basketball book, but it can be whatever it is, but it's just not. Why invite that upon yourself?
Yeah.
I was hoping it would be really cool because we've gone to South by Southwest the last 2 years.
Oh, cool.
And with the American exchange rate and just US in general right now, we thought, well, maybe we'll just try North by instead, but no experience with it whatsoever.
I've played it before.
Have you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like there used to be comedy at it. There used to be a bunch of aspects to it, but I think they just kind of were like, all right, this is going to be an indie band thing, and fair enough. But it's just like it's weird to invite comparison to something that there's no way you're gonna. Also, it's like Toronto is not Austin. It's like it's not a cool weird city in the way that Austin is like a
cool
fun
weird city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's no like keep Toronto weird. Like maybe they could have tried to do that a while ago, but it's not.
How would you describe Toronto?
It's like I like it. I lived there a long time. It's not bad. It's just very like there's a reason why everything gets filmed there is not set in Toronto. It's like it is a generic fill-in for a city. I think it was on 30 Rock or something when Steve Martin said it's like New York but without all the stuff.
Hey, we got the CN Tower.
Yeah.
At one point, the tallest freestanding structure on Earth.
Yeah. Have you eaten in the restaurant up there?
I have.
No,
I was a long time ago, but yeah.
My parents couldn't. They were too cheap to do it. I think we went up in it, but we were allowed in for like 20 minutes, and we had to get down to. I think we were going to a Blue Jays game.
Well, that to me is like the fun. That's the one thing left in the city that's still cheap and fun.
Yeah.
Is those Blue Jays games, man, are a great time.
Yeah, good vibes there. The hot dogs are probably better than what you would get at the Spinny restaurant anyways, so you're not missing much.
You might have to spend $30 on a hot dog there.
Yeah.
Not if there's a home game on a Tuesday, they're $1.
Really?
Everything's cheaper on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
I love Tuesdays.
How did that become a thing? Cheap Tuesday. Like Toonie Tuesday.
People are just less willing to go out.
You can get the Toonie Tuesday, KFC, you can go to a movie cheaper on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I think like you say, it's like nobody.
It's a shitty day.
Yeah, nobody wants to do anything that day. You really need to push people.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know why Friday nights are so popular, though. This is just hear me out, because everybody, for the most part, have had a full work week and they're exhausted and maybe just want to chill at home. But Friday's when everything happens. So maybe we're a little backwards here.
I think most people had that exhausting week and want to let loose.
Yeah, perhaps.
It's
I'm a fan
let-loose
of
day.
Tuesdays is what I'm getting at. But I find a lot of cities are kind of similar now. Like I don't know where this kind of topic originally came up, but we're thinking about how the infrastructure of them are kind of all more or less the same. Like the new builds all have the businesses in the bottom level and then the condos up top, maybe a couple levels for office jobs.
Every building has a tapas place now. You get your tapas.
Yeah, and like all the bars kind of look the same with the steel
We
stools
got 32 craft beer on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's the like wood and then the exposed brick and the like the funky light fixtures that look very like old time. Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere looks like that now. It is.
Which is what makes us celebrate our small towns, right? I don't know.
There's a book called Filter World, and I will get the author's name wrong. I think it's Kyle Chakra, if I'm whatever. Anyway,
I'll put the right name in there.
He wrote this book called Filter World about how everything looks this. It's like everything's being done through the filter of these social media algorithms. And he was like, he's like a world traveler reporter, and he's like, I went to every every little coffee shop I went to around the world, all looked exactly the same, but they weren't part of a chain. It wasn't like some corporate design mandated they all look like that. Everybody thought they were doing something really cool and original, but they were all doing the exact same thing. And it's because they were all doing what Instagram told them looked good. And that's kind of where we wound up.
I find that really kind of insightful to the arts because, in my opinion, a lot of the greatest artists are the ones who are either ahead of their time or the trailblazers or kind of doing something that is not in the norm. And I listened to your interview on the Afternoon Pint and how you referenced Dave Chappelle, who really...
I was drunker than I wanted to be during that interview. So I don't remember that, but fair enough.
Where was I? Who's Dave Chappelle? But yeah, I really connected with that point of and we'll get into maybe a bigger conversation about comedians and comedy and their place in the world now. But I want to talk about the point of sometimes going against the grain is actually, most of the time, probably is the thing that's going to get you noticed or, make you famous or whatever it is that you're in pursuit of. But I thought he was a great example of that. And I think in the arts now, we're all trying to find our way and there are no rules, there are no formulas anymore. And it's kind of liberating in a way to just go do your own thing.
Yeah, it's kind of that's why I wrote a book as well. It was just kind of well, this is just going to be a hobby forever now. So maybe I'll just make it the hobby that I want it to be instead of trying to do another friggin' spec script to get another interview to do. You know what I mean? It's just, everyone can kind of do their own thing, but it's also I do find now that categories are more important than ever before. Where for a movie or books, I found especially where it's just is it a YA book? Is it a romance book? If not, I have no interest. A lot of people are I only read fantasy novels, period. I will not try to read anything else. I only do that. And movies is the same thing where it's if it's a horror movie, then it has to have this much scary stuff per minute. Otherwise, it's not a horror movie. And if it's not a horror movie, then I'm not funding it. And if, it's, things are, again, I hate to be the computers are killing us guy, but I think that it's, because everything has to be categorized so much to show up on search engines, everything is so rigid of whether, is this a comedy? Is this a drama? Is this a horror? Is this whatever? You really need to fit into a box to be discovered at this point. Otherwise, you can't Google experimental weird thing.
Even YouTube videos, the most prominent creators on YouTube, someone like Mr. Beast has created a style that's trying to capture people's short attention spans now. So I watched a video, someone analyzing one of his videos, and he does a cut, I think it was every 1.5 seconds. There's an edit in his video. So it's a close shot, far shot, then a drone shot.
Seizure,
it's just nonstop because people can't just sit there and take in one camera on one person. So it needs to be just constantly engaging. And it's, I don't know, once they were pointing this out and you realize so many people are trying to do the same thing, it's oh, this is this is broadening our minds. Like we we should be able to sit there and just watch. Like if someone's saying something interesting, like that should be good enough. We don't need 1,000 different angles. We got 3 cameras in here for our video production, but
that they know of.
yeah. Plus the secret ones. Yeah. But yeah, and then there's this whole movement of people trying to do the exact opposite of what Mr. Beast is doing. Like I forget the name of it. It's like slowcore or something like that, where the videos are just like long shots and just people talking and like beautiful scenery, and they're so slow, but they're also amazing in their own way.
I've really lost track of what the point of YouTube videos is now.
Yeah.
It really, like, it used to be, hey, look at this stupid guy, or like, this lady made a music video that sucks. You need to see it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you put these on while you're asleep? Or like, this one's to like you said, like they're all analyzing another video. They're all like, it's been a while since I've sat down and like actually enjoyed watching YouTube.
Well, you're going to watch this interview and you're
well,
gonna like
of course.
it.
I'm going to, I mean, I'm going to like, share, and subscribe. For
But that was something that surprised us. We talked about South by earlier. Like we went in our capacities podcast hosts and learned time and time again that YouTube is king in the podcasting world. And we're like, that can't be. Like, who sits and just watches the 3 of us? Who wants to do that? But I'll tell you, like,
it's 75% of podcasts are consumed on YouTube.
Yeah, including ours now. That is. We have data to show that yes, more people are watching us than listening to us now. It just is surprising.
A podcast for me or something that I've always been in the car or on the subway or like while I'm doing something else and I'm listening. But hey, power to you. You know, you've got over 100 years of cinema at your fingertips and you are choosing to watch 3 people talk, and good for you.
It's not, I guess it's nice to put faces to the voices, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It creeped me out sometimes. I don't want to know what a lot of them look like. Especially like I listen to like Comedy Bang Bang and stuff, and like I like that it's, you know, I don't want to see that it's just a guy doing it. I want to pretend that it's the crazy, whatever wacko character that they're doing. That's the fun.
It's kind of like reading a book and you imagine the characters and then it comes to film and you're like, that's not what Paul looks like at all. So I've had that experience with podcast hosts too. Like, that really? That's what he looks like?
That's why they say a movie can never be as good as the book, because your own imagination is always going to be better than what someone crafts it as.
Right. Okay.
That's what I think. Anyway.
So how did you, because I know that this is not a true story that you've written. So how did you imagine and think about your characters as you were writing them? Because you're starting from scratch in that instance, or maybe they are inspired by people you know, but talk about that.
Physically, I always picture them as like cartoons almost. Yeah, I had to create a bunch of characters because it was like, I originally just wanted it to be a couple. And then I like did the barest amount of research into, because the book is about teenagers who steal the Bluenose. And I wanted it to just be like a Ferris Bueller kind of thing where it's like 3, like a guy, a girlfriend, and like dorky friend. And then it was like, I asked one person, like, how many people like would it take to steal a boat like that? And they're like, oh, you need at least like 20 people. I was like, okay, well, what's the like minimum number I can kind of pretend, you know? I think I wound up settling for like 9 or something, but it was like, then it's like, okay, so if you're doing that many people in an ensemble, you know, something you need, like I didn't want it to just be like a bunch of Star Trek extras where it's like there's the core couple people and then there's just endless like other people who are just there. So it was like, okay, I need to come up with something funny about a lot of them. And then it was like, okay, what do I like? You know, 2 of them were like the dogs on the like big bulldog and the little yappy dog on Looney Tunes. I was like, let's just take that. That's fun. And then what's like, I really wanted like a Beavis and Butthead type dynamic with some characters. So I was like, let's just yank that. And then like a Cruella de Vil type Katharine Hepburn kind of old timey thing. And then it was like set in the olden days. So it's like an old gangster, a World War I veteran, like just pulling from here and there. And then eventually it was like, all right, they all kind of fit to an extent.
That's fun.
So you grew up in Lunenburg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What was your younger life like there? Were you into writing creative stuff at the time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or stealing boats?
No, I wasn't a boat. Like I would not be the guy you'd call to steal a boat for sure. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't tie a knot. Yeah, no, I did a lot of creatives. Like me and my friends would like make little backyard movies and stuff, and then I was in like a band, a sort of band, and just playing gigs and stuff, and and like writing. I would write for school. I would always try to, whenever there was like a creative writing assignment, would try to do like a funny one.
Yeah.
But then it was like a lot of scripts and stuff for like the little movies that we did, and then I was the weird art guy, but I tried to make it like funny for the most part because it was just it's tough to pull off being a weird art guy as a teen. You know, you have to really be
in
good.
rural Nova Scotia in the 90s. Yeah,
you got to be good, and it's like if you're not, and you can't really be good at that stuff without experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't be good at it, then if you can make it funny, then you're less insufferable. And that, in a small town, it's like if you're a really insufferable guy, you're gonna have a bad time. You don't have the weird, like, insufferable crew to kind of skulk around with. Or I didn't anyway. I had like friends, but like we didn't. We weren't ostracized from the community. It was too small of a community. If you were going to ostracize yourself, you really had to dig in.
That was the bittersweet part of growing up in a small, like my grad class had maybe 30 people in it, like give or take. So we were all friends because you couldn't have a party unless everyone was invited or there'd be 4 people there. So you were kind of all, however, you were still trying to find your way. And you get out. I moved immediately to Toronto out of high school from a community of 80 people. Now I'm in Jane and Finch, like that area of the city. And just
I was at Jane and Eglinton.
Whoa, okay. So there was the overwhelm that came with it, but it was the first kind of glimpse at there are so many people like me or better at this thing that I was really great at in high school because I was the only person that did it. So it was kind of confronting. And I was there. I wanted to pursue theater at the time, but the school ended up, I was at York University. They ended up going on strike that year. So everybody got like shipped
My
home.
college went on strike too.
Really? There? Was it York?
No, it was, I was at Humber, the community college.
I wonder if it was like a province-wide.
Were you there in 2005?
No, I was there in 2000.
Okay.
So
there we go.
Maybe
it's a recurring problem.
So yeah, this is a recurring
there.
problem. But yeah, I was there for a matter of weeks. My roommate ended up a missing person. The police knocking on my dorm room door, like day 3. So it was not a positive experience. But I know now it was in part because I had no training to be. I had no business being in downtown Toronto at 18, growing up where I did.
See, I went at 17 and I was in like a very Hells Angels neighborhood and it was crazy town. But because I was with such a specific type, like I went to this like comedy writing and performance community college class where like Joe Flaherty was one of the teachers, but he really just showed up every now and again. And it was like, Dave Flaherty his brother was a regular teacher and nothing bad to say about the guy. He was great, but a crazy person. But it was because it was like, that was the first time too, where I found this community of just like everybody who went to a community college comedy writing program was crazy.
Yeah, it's relatively niche.
Yeah,
that's not arts.
It attracts a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And so we really bonded. And a lot of those people are still like my best friends to this day. And some of them went on to do a lot of comedy, like are still in the game. But they went on strike while I was there, but we just that was like a real lot, like just a lot of alcohol consumed, a lot of just going down to the lake and getting drunk every day until maybe we're going to have to get back to school
Get
at
some
some
work
point. But we never, I don't think we had to do one final show. They didn't send us home. So you got sent home for a strike and then you never went back?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
That's cool too.
Life moves on, right? I
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah, I mean, sometimes life just forces you in new directions, but that was one of those times, however. But did you find meeting like-minded people, did that expand your creative ability? Did you feel more comfortable to explore things or be a bit more daring because of that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was also like, again, it was like, and thank God they didn't do this, but there had been talk about turning that program into a reality show hosted by Joan Rivers, I want to say.
That's random.
And so everybody, but like, thank God that did not happen. But everybody still had this kind of like competitive edge because comedy is like, there's a lot of collaboration, like improv and sketch is very collaborative. But at the same time, there's this like everyone approaches it slightly differently. Everyone's got their own voice or whatever. And so there was this kind of like people everyone trying to outdo one another, which led to a lot of, again, stuff that is great, was not recorded for posterity. Is also at the time, 2004, comedy was kind of, people were looking for edge, and things that were edgy then are not great now.
Yeah.
In a way that it's probably good that there's not a lot of tape of a bunch of 18-year-olds trying to be as edgy as possible, living on their own for the first time in the
drunk
big
by
city.
the lake. Yeah.
How long was the program you took?
2 years.
Yeah. And so you
and you know what? If you take it, it does not count as a credit to transfer to anything else within that college.
No way.
Yeah, and it's still going somehow. And I'm sure that the classes are about like how to make memes and stuff now.
Yeah.
But I don't. I wouldn't. Yeah, it's hard. I've got conflicting feelings about it. On one hand, like somebody should have said, "You're a 17-year-old. You cannot make you." This is a terrible decision for your life. Like there is no way that this will go well for you. But at the same time, I made a lot of cool friends and had a weird life.
Isn't that basically all higher education at that age though? Like,
but at a certain point, like, having a BA or something is still like it
can open a few more doors, maybe.
It doesn't close doors the way that you can't apply for any job and say this is my post-secondary experience. Is Robin Duke from SCTV taught me how to write sketches.
Yeah.
Like Subway will say, we'll go with the guy who didn't go to college. There's no, it's not an in-demand thing, and it does not, and also no comedy play. Like no one's going to be like, oh, we're staffing for this, SNL isn't going to, Lorne Michaels isn't going to be like, oh, we see you got good marks in comedy college. Like there's no benefit to it. But I did meet a lot of good friends.
And you stayed in Toronto after that?
Sure did. Yeah, for quite a while. Yeah, up until I was visiting my parents back in Lunenburg, and then the global pandemic began.
Yeah.
and there seemed to really not be a point to go back at that point.
At that moment in your life or career, what was your idea of success or making it?
I had a bunch of cool like irons in the fire at the time. I would have said to you at the time, it's just crazy to think back to like at the time I had written on a kids TV show. I was really trying so hard to get more work doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Which was like, I was just like going on IMDb, looking up anyone who had written for any of the kids shows that got made in Toronto, finding them through Facebook or something, taking them out for coffee or a drink and being like, hey, like, what do you do? And every one of them was just like, you know what? Like, This happens to me once a year where some guy will track me down and ask me that question, and I don't have a good answer for you. Sorry. And so I was doing that. I had a thing with Audible that they had paid us to write a bunch of episodes for, and we'd written them, and then right before we were going to record them, they kind of pulled the plug on that. And so these were like this kind of thing. And then I was in this like this comedy duo where we were doing a bunch of shows. We were trying to pitch a TV show for that. So those were the things that I would have considered making it would have been if any of those opportunities had really worked out.
Mm-hmm. Great initiative, by the way.
Yeah, well, what can you do? Like there's all that kind of stuff. And then my personal life was kind of falling apart simultaneously. There was a lot of stuff that I was ignoring. Like I didn't know how to drive. Like there was stuff where like I was just ignoring very basic life skills in order to make these like increasingly dwindling opportunities to make a couple $100, like really pushing to make those happen. And then COVID happened. Again, coincidentally, I brought my work computer home to visit my parents because I was going through an unrelated difficult stretch. And then, man, it was like, this sounds like I'm exaggerating and maybe this is just in my memory, but I believe it was like the last Porter flight from Toronto to Halifax airport before the air. Like, I think my recollection is I got off the plane, we drove from the airport to Lunenburg, and when we turned on the TV, they were like, no one's allowed in or out of Nova Scotia anymore, and the airline is closed.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm here for a bit. And then, I moved back to Toronto for a couple months at the end of the pandemic, and it just, like you said, like what I would have considered making it at the time no longer felt that exciting. And I was like, maybe I will go back to Nova Scotia, and maybe making it was the friends I made along the way.
Yeah, sure.
When you were coming out of school, you finished your 2 years and
got that diploma.
got
That
the
is
diploma
still
framed on the wall.
It's in my parents'. No, they gave it to me. It's in my attic somewhere. I don't know what I did with it.
But you got it either way.
Sure did.
Like coming out of school, what were your hopes? Were you like thinking like Saturday Night Live
That
and stuff
kind
like
of
that?
stuff.
Like,
It sounds crazy, but it was like at the time too. It was like they were still making a lot of stuff. Like Much Music was like on the way down, but it wasn't totally gone.
Yeah.
Like the idea of, I mean, it did seem crazy at the time, but not to the same extent of like you and your friends could go pitch these TV shows and then one of them could turn into something one day, or like, you could write a screenplay and somebody would put money in it and you could get it made, or I was in the sketch troupe for a long time and I have no idea what we thought we were doing there. I joined pretty late in the game, but the idea there was like, because Picnic Face had a show, and like that there would be these shows. Like it was, I don't know. It's hard to put myself back in those shoes, but I think it was just I could make a living writing funny things, and then that kind of became I could have a part-time job doing that sometimes. Which then just became, I'm going to write a book, and whatever happens with it is great.
So what changed within the industry that became not a reality?
To say that it's the industry's fault is to like ignore kind of culpability. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's very easy for me to be like, it's the industry's fault that my dreams didn't work out. Nothing that I did. like I was good enough and nobody could see it. Like that's kind of a bullshitty attitude. So, but like, I think the big changes in the industry really are Canada was not prepared for streaming in a big way. Like, I don't know how many people who subscribe to Stack TV and are like, this is something that I love paying. Like there's just no real, the way that things were set up was, and I'm sure you know this with music too, like radio, TV, like there were these giant towers, and to own and operate one of these giant towers, you had to have a license from the government, and to make that license keep that going, you had to have a certain amount of Canadian stuff on there. And these towers are useless now. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's all on the internet. So it's like, you know, and so it becomes kind of calcified, right? Where it's like, when it's all grant funded, when it's like, you know, like, and same with, a guy who at the time was the head of Nelvana, which is now gone. One of like Canada's biggest company, like animation studios, is now totally defunct.
Yeah.
And he said that like in the United States, like Adult Swim can make 10 shows, and if 9 of them miss and are never heard from again, but one of them is Rick and Morty, then they come out ahead. In Canada, we can make one show a year, maybe. And if that one, it'll never make its budget back. If so, there's no incentive to take risks really here, I don't think.
And you attribute this to money, funding?
No, I kind of attribute it to the audience. Like, there's no audience for it, I don't think. Like, you would, I just don't, I don't think enough people are like looking for a wacky Canadian risk-taking comedy thing right now.
Right.
The Canadian comedy content that comes out that's popular isn't risky, right? It's like, Schitt's Creek is good. But there's no risk in getting the 2 like biggest stars that this country has produced in a comedy and letting them do what they want. And like, there's no risk there. Like, you know, it's gonna, but like, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of risk taking, basically because I don't think a lot of people are looking for that kind of content. I think people who are looking for comedy stuff now are, it's just memes for the most part, or like,
I find this in all of the arts today, like much to my disappointment, and we all come from different creative backgrounds, but there's a through line in all of them, and I hear this from other friends who are in the film industry too, and like very successful people that just feel different about it, and there's sort of this saturation of sameness. And so I wonder if the consumer thinks this is where I fit in, or this is all that's out there now, because taking risks kind of gets buried and now people just aren't doing it anymore.
Well, there's just it's so hard to get a return on that investment.
Yeah.
Like, you look at something like the movie industry in the 90s is like, all the entertainment industry in the 90s is like, yeah, like you put out a movie and it's going to make you like $30 million, no matter how much no matter what it is.
And there was so much weird stuff then that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like Being John Malkovich, one of my favorite movies. I don't think something like that would ever get made
No.
now.
And I'm sure that you could look up how much that movie made, but I'm sure it like the cost benefit of stuff like that was just like a Coen Brothers movie back then costs $10 million to make Fargo or something, and then it makes a ton. And then their next one, Big Lebowski, costs about the same, doesn't make a lot of money, but in the end, it makes so much on DVD sales. And now it's like, who gives a shit? Like, you know, you put out, you are just throwing $10 million into a hole because it's all competing to be on the front page of Netflix, which nobody is paying. It's just the fact of the matter, in my like opinion, as somebody who is just some guy, is that like there's just, it's so hard to make your money back on stuff that like, why take a risk? Like, well, you know, if you're not going to make your like what's the best case scenario for a wacky comedy thing is you're going to lose your money.
And it's almost assumed now that, well, you have to go get another job so that you can just play and try that weird thing that you really feel connected to. Or this isn't something I'm proud of, but it's relevant to this conversation, is I just put in a grant application for a project that, like, cool, I'll get to do things that are within my field. This isn't the project I want to do, but I'm pretty sure I'll get the money to do this project.
Yeah.
And when you need money, you're like, I guess this is the safe zone, but I'm very aware and conflicted in this is why the weird shit is kind of dying, is because we can't sustain it.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it just
here we are.
I think it's
one of those things where it's like it's a shitty conversation to have because it sounds so bitter. It sounds like 3 people at a bar being like,
And we're not even drinking.
Yeah, it sounds like, well, if it's my wife's fault that we got divorced. Like I was the perfect husband, and like she didn't whatever. Or like, oh, I would have got that promotion if not for all these people. I don't like being bitter about it, so that's why I've just had to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's disappearing in the mainstream, but I feel like it's more than present in the grassroots community.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's indie filmmakers and stuff on YouTube that people are creating. It's harder to make a career and make money off it, but people are still doing, and same with music. Like you listen to any modern music that's in the mainstream, it all sounds the same, but there's more good bands now than ever, I would say.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to let it just be your hobby, you can do whatever you like.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So, okay,
and to your point, I've seen some crazy community theater since moving back to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some bizarre stuff there. They are letting you run wild in that space.
This is where you'll find your niche. Are you performing still locally? Is that happening?
No, I'm not. No.
Mm-hmm.
I've been invited to join some community theater things, but I feel like I would just get into too many fights.
So how did the book come to be? You moved back to Nova Scotia during the pandemic?
Yeah. I just was like, the pandemic, I think, was a very clarifying time, to sound very pretentious about it, but like so many comedy people were doing, and again, I don't want to call anyone out or sound like this is necessarily bad, but a lot of people were doing these like Instagram shows and these like comedy shows from your room and stuff, and it was just like, I was like, this is kind of a time to think about what else do I have in my life other than this. And if you're going to try to keep doing a crummier version of it, good on you. But maybe, I don't know, it just didn't resonate to me. So I was like, what are some other things I can do? What are some other ways I can express myself, or not, or just like not, who am I if I'm not this struggling, crazy person in Toronto beating his head against the wall, trying to get people to pay attention to his bullshit. And through that, being in Lunenburg, it's a beautiful place. There's a lot of cool stuff to look at and be inspired by. And yeah, I was thinking the other thing too is like, what is something that I can do that 10 other people can't do better than me? And it was like, okay, a story about Lunenburg would be something that would be specific to me. Mm-hmm. And then it was like you said, like, it was like, is anybody going to fund a movie or a TV show where everybody's in costumes and on boats and doing all, like, no, never. So it would have to be a book. And then I was reading a lot during that time too, and I didn't know that you could just write funny books. There's not a lot of them. It's like memoirs and nonfiction. There's comedy stuff, but comedy novels, it's like Confederacy of Dunces is at the top of everybody's list, and then the rest, sort of. Mm-hmm. So I was like, maybe you can. And this book, Where Did You Go, Bernadette, was like, there's different books kind of like inspired me to be like, okay, maybe this can be done. And I just grew out of wanting to do something creative still, but also not necessarily wanting to move back to Toronto and go to comedy bar every night and get drunk and like keep beating my head against the same. I wanted to beat my head against a different wall.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a culmination though. Like, I know we're just getting to know each other now, but it feels like a culmination of so much of your life experience. You grew up in this place. It's reflective of that. You have a writing background, a comedy background, sort of taking risks as the characters are doing in your book. Like, does that feel true to you? Kind
of. Yeah. There's a good friend of mine, his name is Garrett Jameson. He's a great, very well-respected comedian in Toronto from Winnipeg. Amazing person. One of the funniest comedians. And years ago, he started doing this show with this band called Spraticus. And he did this show where he was doing stand-up while this like rock band was like playing in the background, and the music would be incorporated into the jokes, and like they would like, it was all done like timed, and he would suddenly break. It would seem like he was suddenly breaking out into song, and the band would be right behind him. And it was this crazy thing. It was like this crazy, I can't do it justice, but it just stuck out to me as like, only this guy could do this, and this is what this guy was supposed to do. This is peak Garrett, like perfect. And I was like, what is my thing like that? And then I did feel that when I was writing this book, where I was like, this is me operating at, this is the best that I could do. And yeah, so I guess a culmination. Sure. Yeah. I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I've culminated.
Something only I can do. I think that's actually great advice for somebody trying to find their way or their voice or their next project. Like, ask yourself that question.
Yeah, and it's a tough question to pose to yourself, because at the end of the day, there's probably not that many things. And also, it's like you can't really do that when you're young, I don't think. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to get knocked around a bit before you can find the answers to those questions. But
did you have mentorship or someone kind of being your first reader? Like, who were your people in this project?
It was a pretty solo road. Like, no one helped. No one was like, books would be a good idea for you. Here's how you do that. No one did that. But I did have some people who read early drafts and gave notes and stuff. And then a guy in the publishing industry named Bruce, but he helped. He read it and he told me to change the title, and he was absolutely correct. And I am thankful to him for that.
From what?
It used to be called Schooner Schemers, which I think is a fun title, but having Lunenburg in the name of the book has really helped. It's been one of the best possible decisions, because it's like a lot of tourists, a lot of people who are just in Lunenburg for the day are like, oh, like Lunenburg book, great. Whereas if it had been something that I can't pronounce that, I don't know what this is, then they would probably not worry about it.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of your potential audience as you were writing it?
Kind of, yeah. I really like, yes, my audience was people who have read only a small handful of books since high school, but like comedy.
Yeah.
If you like comedy more than books, then this would be. Yeah, I was not thinking for like readers, like very intense readers, because I get people who read a lot of books. I've found really have specific niches that they want to read, and this does not fit with any of them.
Did you have to choose a cat? Like, do you market this as this is a comedy book, or is that an uncomfortable thing for you to even think about?
I've been really pushing it as a comedy book, because people hate to be surprised by a comedy. And everyone thinks that they don't, but they do. If something turns out to just be a comedy, they're like, they feel cheated. They feel like it's like, there's no depth. There's no like, oh, I thought this was going to be something else, and now there's just a bunch of jokes. And if you don't like the jokes, then you're like, well, there's nothing for me here. And I don't know if you ever had the experience of like going to a bar, you're there to hang out with your friends, you're chatting, and then somebody approaches the microphone at the front of the room and says, hey, everybody, the comedy show's about to start. So we're just, 5 minutes, and then, you got some great comedians, and then it's this open mic, and nobody in the place is happy about it.
Well, you're speaking to an open mic host, so
music open mic is different.
Yeah.
Music open mic is definitely different. Like, music is something everybody can enjoy. You can tune out if you want. A comedian is saying to you, stop your conversation, listen to me,
make eye contact.
This is why my dick is weird. You need to listen to that. And
tell us more about that. No.
Open mic comedy is probably the funniest thing ever, though, because when the comedians are bad, that's when they're the best. I used to, Peter
In
White,
theory.
you've been on 30 Minutes High. I went to university with Peter, and we were good buddies, and when he was coming up in the comedy scene here, I'd go to every single show he did.
God bless you.
And the bad comedians were always my favorite.
They are in hindsight. But in the moment, it's a it's
the
a white
awkwardness,
knuckle.
yeah.
This surprises me to hear from you because you're somebody like if you go to a play and somebody's 1 second late in their line, Mike is mortified in the audience for them. Like the secondhand embarrassment is strong for you. So I'm surprised that you enjoyed that.
He's right in saying like it's more after the fact, and then you can kind of recount like how bad they were. Not to be mean behind their backs.
No,
but,
hey, and it's the only way to learn as a comedian is doing these open mics.
The bravest thing ever.
There's plenty of people who, and I hate it. I didn't like doing it. I didn't get anything out of doing stand up, and so I didn't do it. But like, anyway, none of it is to be detrimental to stand up people. It's just like when you are not expecting comedy and it happens to you, it's not pleasant. Music it can be a fun surprise, but like. Anyway, so I've marketed this hard as a comedy book just to be like, you know, you can't say you weren't warned.
Yeah.
So were you thinking of potential tourists coming into Lunenburg and buying this when you were crafting it? Because I imagine that is probably a pretty big consumer of it now, with Lunenburg being one of the most popular tourist destinations on the whole East Coast, really.
It was not really. No, it wasn't really. If that had been my focus, it would have less dumb stuff. There's a number of ways I wouldn't have gone as hard, and I wouldn't have gone after certain things, and I wouldn't have made certain references, and I wouldn't have made it what it is if I was trying to be a tourist about it. Like I think there's probably a lot of people who have bought it and are like pleasantly surprised at how fun and easy it is to read. Yeah. But there's a number of people who I think have read it and were like, oh geez, like what? I've been swindled into buying something a lot crazier than I was led to believe.
That's okay.
Hey, you know.
That's the point of creativity sometimes. Like, well, there was a feeling involved. There was a reaction here, so I've done my job.
Yeah, there's one person on Goodreads got very upset. Very angry about it. But hey, I knew that I knew the fire I was playing with.
Well, when the internet exists and we put things out there, it's inevitable that we're going to get that back eventually.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm not upset. But this lady is from Lockport, Nova Scotia, and this book goes really hard at that town. Okay, and I was like, somebody from there is eventually going to not take that the right way.
That's almost to be expected.
Are they rivals with Lunenburg? Or?
Yeah,
they are now.
Yeah.
Well, there was kind of like a weird little rivalry between our high schools, but not even a real one. It was just anyway. I needed a town to be like the Shelbyville in the book. Mm-hmm. And Lockport does have a statue in it. I think they might have taken it down only in the past year or two. The inscription says erected for the seamen. And I was like, well, that has to go in there. Yeah. Like, it's going to have to go in there for some reason. And then as I was trying to figure out.
they've since taken the statue down.
I don't know if they've done it as a result, but I mean, it's a pretty silly thing to put on there. You're going to get razzed. But yeah, so people from Lockport have been upset. But other than that, I think people are pretty happy with it.
I find Nova Scotians, I guess Canadians, love getting poked fun at if it's not too harsh. Like if we see something on TV that's outside of Canada and someone's making fun of us, we're so excited. Like,
we're proud.
As long as they're not like really going hard at us. But it sounds like
James Mollinger is really good at that as an
outsider
coming and now working in Canada as a stand-up comedian who pokes fun at us in all the right ways. Yeah.
I feel like we're not Canada's not very good at getting made fun of hard. Like I feel like we just like there is a defensiveness here where it's like
if it crosses that threshold.
Yeah, where I feel like in America they're used to people like burning their flag and being like you're an evil empire or whatever. For here, if people are like you're bad, like you're like not just kind of like cute and silly, but like you're actually bad. People don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
I think we saw that come up in the American election, and the threat of taking over Canada is like everybody's very polite in themselves, but if we're threatened, there's like savage nature that comes out in us, which I'm also proud of, by the way.
There is a weird, that episode has revealed a lot of stuff where like, I'm with you. Like I have this certain patriotic surge that kind of came from that, but I've recently just been kind of like, but why? Like, what is it? Like, nothing has really been articulated about like why we're great. It's just like we're not that.
Yeah.
But there hasn't really.
Sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, God bless us. Love God keep our land, you know. I'm not here to say anything about that, but it has been interesting. But like this reflexive patriotism is not really translated into because we do this or like, and therefore we will reinvest in these things that make this country great. And it's just been like, hey, leave us alone. Anyway.
We'll just make more playlists of the Tragically Hip.
Does Lunenburg feel like home? I know you grew up there, but is this where you choose to stay? Is this where you want to be?
That's a complicated question. Lunenburg is like, I love it. It is impossible to ignore the fact that I will never be able to afford to live there until my parents die and I get their house. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I absolutely love Lunenburg, but a lot of the character that I grew up with there is just not present anymore. It's much more of a theme parky kind of tourist. Not to say like it's very silly to say like, oh, Lunenburg has been gentrified. Like it's always been the most picturesque, quaint, lovely place. But I don't think anyone who I grew up with owns a house there now. Some people do. Very few, like, and the people who do bought like right out of, you know what I mean? Like it's not an achievable place to want to move to live in town there. It's just very expensive and very, a lot of like, it's just people who are retired, who are usually from other parts of Canada who live there now. And God bless them. I understand why they want to be there, but it's not like, I feel at home in my parents' house. I don't feel like, oh, I've got a real community here in Lunenburg in particular. Lunenburg County for sure. But in town, I don't know that I feel that strong sense of community quite so much anymore. Although this book has like, I've connected with a lot of people who have read it and who have talked to me about it, who are from Lunenburg, who do feel something about it. So, you know, it's not, but Liverpool is home now.
There you go.
In the book, you steal, or the characters steal the Bluenose. Is that correct?
That's right.
Was the Bluenose something of significance to you growing up? Because I know it is docked in Lunenburg for a portion of the year.
Yeah, you know, we had to sing the song, and it's Lunenburg. Like,
what's the song?
There's I'm not.
Please sing the song.
Okay. The ocean knows her name. Sailors know how proud a ship was she. Bluenose, something on the wind, racing every wave on the sea. Lunenburg, when I went to school there's the giant wooden school, the Academy. Should have this up. It's like this building here.
Yeah.
That was a school for primary to grade 5. And then you started high school in grade 6 and that went to 12. And there was like one class, I'm sure you can relate to it. There was like one class available that you had to take, so you had to graduate from high school in Lunenburg, take a class about heritage, like just you had to take a class about the town.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would not be able to accumulate enough credits to graduate high school. So yeah, like learning about the Bluenose and the architecture and stuff is like, even if I didn't care, like it was like you have to pass a test about it or you do not get past grade 10.
I didn't.
We're both a little speechless, I guess.
I didn't know there was a song for stuff, and I didn't know it was that driven into you. Little kind of North Korea style.
Nor
there.
like, yeah, I was just going to say, is that a legal curriculum?
I don't think it was intentional. It was just the school was so small. It was like there was no alternate class for that. It was like to get the credits necessary, you couldn't really drop that one.
Yeah.
Is my recollection. I could be wrong, but I don't know anybody who didn't take those.
Yeah.
Other ones, it was like you could take math or oceanography, or like you could take this or that, but that one was like you had to do it. Same with, there was an English class like where you had to be in a play where you could not pass grade 11 English, which is like you need to have that.
Which is nightmarish for so many teenagers, I'm sure. Like grade 11, you have to be in a play.
The whole class had to put a play together. So you pretty much, the class was small enough that like you would have to do you had to do something behind the scenes and on stage for the most part. Unless there was and you had to. It was like compulsory.
I can imagine, like, it was like half the people I grew up with, that would be their worst nightmare. They just
well, public speaking is the biggest fear, more than death in the world.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a little bit different than public speaking, but yeah, same sentiment.
You're going to be a goddamn Oompa
Anywho, it worked out for you. I mean,
oh, yeah.
You're like, I'm good here.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, sure.
I've chatted with some other comedians who describe themselves as not a funny person in their day-to-day, or that they see like, this is just who I am on stage, almost as though they're playing a character. Is that relatable to you, or have you used humor as kind of part of your personality, or this is how I socialize with people or get to know new people?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I don't know how these comedians are getting girlfriends if they're not using being funny as
this is the primary goal.
Yeah. I don't know.
They got a real good 15 minutes, so that works.
Yeah.
No, I did a kind of persona stuff because I did more sketch and improv-y stuff than straight stand-up, but no, this is pretty much how I talk to everybody.
What's the difference? Sketch comedy and stand-up comedy?
Sketch comedy and stand-up, like sketch comedy is like a dead art, sort of. It's kind of like gone. You can't, like, the idea, it exists technically still, but like the idea that you and your friends could get together and put on costumes and like stand-up comedy is you go up and you talk. I like to think of it as like fiction and nonfiction. Like,
okay.
Stand-up comedy is nonfiction. You're going up, you're talking, you're explaining stuff that happened to you, you're telling stories, it's just you talking and you're painting the scene. And there's no lights up, lights down. It's just you're up there for however long. You have a microphone and that's it. Sketch comedy is much more theater. It's like lights go up and there's a couple people on the stage and they might have some props and one of them's a waiter and one of them's a guy with a blood coming out of there's some crazy thing going on that there's a secret or whatever. And then the people over the course of a couple minutes play out a scene with a beginning, middle, and end. And there's like the same joke happens, blah, blah, blah. And then the lights go down and everybody claps and then we move on to the next thing. Whereas a stand-up will just talk the whole time.
Okay.
The sketch is a lot more effort, a lot more inflexible. You need a lot more tech. It just requires a lot more accoutrement, and there's considerably less money and opportunity in it because it's like like you can do stand up at the Legion, but you're not going to get the Legion's not going to book a sketch troupe called like the Wacky Bunch to go up and do like okay, then you have to go through your tech list with the Legion guy to be like, you know, this is where like if Steal My Sunshine doesn't come on at this moment, then the whole thing doesn't work. So you need to like hit like there's all this stuff that back in the day, like you could like again, this is the thing about what we were saying about the arts earlier, where it's like when I lived in Toronto, you could have a sketch troupe and get a bunch of people to come to a show to watch people do silly little skits. And it must be so hard to get people to do that now. Like, you used to be like, people could do just like crazy experimental weird stuff and rent a room in a bar to do it. And you could get like 20 people to show up to that. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, I just don't know. Like,
it's all the videos now, right? Like, everyone's just making their YouTube videos.
Yeah. The sketch has kind of really been taken over by Instagram and YouTube videos. Instagram in particular, where it's just like, the premise of the sketch is written in letters on the top, or it's like the guy who does this at a barbecue, and then you just are filming somebody at a barbecue doing that one thing in 5 different ways over the course of 30 seconds, and then you're moving on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. So would you say it's less of the art of sketch comedy itself and more of how it's consumed that has changed? Are people still doing sketch comedy, but they're just doing it now this way on video?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's something that it's the stupidest thing to be a snob about. So, but it's like, I think it always something that changes as it goes. Like, Saturday Night Live has been the same format for a long time, and it's kind of an old format. And like, I don't think people need to have wigs and things to make it work, but I think it's fine the way it is now. Like, I like those videos just as much as the next guy, and I'm not like wishing that there was, but like, you look at, so stuff like Mr. Show with Bob and David was different. Like, the format always changes. Like, they had a totally new way of doing it, and it's not like it should just be a static thing. But live sketch comedy, I believe, is less prevalent now than it was when I was doing it. And even then, it was kind of like, there were like 10 of us in the group. It's just like, how are we going to divide this money? How are we going to how is the whole, you've been in, I'm sure, a number of bands where eventually you just hit the point where you're like, all right, like, are the 5 of us really going to keep, are all of us really on the same page, do the same thing? Or is it fine to just like, I'm going to go do my own couple shows? And like, we're going to,
I would like to see sketch comedy on the Shag Harbor UFO Museum. I'd like to make that request of you if you are up for the task one day in your life.
Let's go film some
Mike
stuff
and I
there.
recently visited. Mike's a big UFO fan, or I don't know if fan is the right word to use, but
although
I've spoken about it on the record, but I
thought one of the funniest things about it was, well, everything's funny about it. The incident, I believe, is real and true, but the museum, we go in and there's just 2 young girls. Like, start on the right. Like, there's displays and go around. And so the very first display is a project like someone in junior high did on Men in Black.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
it's
big
Will Smith.
like movie poster, I think is even.
Exactly.
On the mini fridge. Tape. Like Scotch tape. Oh, love
and
it.
then just
love it.
big Bristol board with like a report taped to it.
Or like a torn out piece of loose leaf with handwriting in pencil.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's like one of my favorite museums.
The first thing should be the Shag Harbor incident happened in 1967 on October 4th, like explaining what it is. But why is the very first thing you see something to do with the Men in Black? It just didn't make any sense.
If I could note the Shag Harbor Museum, I think they cram so much into like dense blocks of text and then just have a bunch of random stuff in there.
Yeah.
Where if you just were to like, you have the space and there's not a lot to it. So you could just have a couple of words over a map, or there's like, this is where the incident happened. And then you show the map. Okay. And then keep walking. This is the instant, like, here's like a couple of bullet points. Great.
Yeah.
Like, tell the whole story as you walk around the thing instead of just like the full report you can read right here, and then a copy of Cracked magazine about where there's an alien on the cover. Like, that's anyway.
It's awesome.
They don't need my help. They're doing fine out there.
They just got a new paint job.
Oh, cool.
External?
Yeah. The yellow, like, it's a yellow building. They I just saw online. I follow them on Facebook, so just last week.
Excellent.
Good for them.
Can't wait.
And I really, that big lobster that they have out there with the alien painted on it,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. It is worth going to. Like, of course.
Okay, if you are going to Yarmouth, it is worth
Yeah.
stopping at. I don't know.
Yeah, you shouldn't fly in from California to go to it.
It's tough to build a whole day around.
Yeah. You can get a half hour in there, maybe an hour.
Yeah, I was on a date there one time, and we really, really I was coming in from Liverpool, and she was coming in from Yarmouth, so it was like, that's the perfect place to meet. And and then it was like, okay, we were done this in half an hour. We need to find another activity right now.
Panic mode sets in. Like, oh shit, this is a date.
This was not enough.
I should have worn my Shag Harbor shirt. I got one while I was there.
Well, you didn't know this was coming up, so yeah. That's all right, though. We'll add this to our list of date recommendations should that question come up again.
And there's a real, everything is so nice in there. And then the merch, there's a really horny mug with a bunch of pictures of cartoon aliens doing it on there. And it's really out of place.
We bought 2.
This is awkward. Our whole cupboard. Is there anything that we've missed today that you would like to promote or have people know about your story, your book, your art in general?
When will this be released?
Couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay. If it hasn't happened yet, then if you're in Bridgewater, you can come see me read from this book at the Des Brisets Museum on September 20th.
Okay.
At 2 p.m. And if you're in Toronto, you can see me read from this book and sign copies of it at Winona on September 30th. And if you're in Montreal, you can see me on October 3rd at Le Frigo Vert.
You're on tour.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hitting all the big markets, Bridgewater, Toronto, Montreal.
That's great.
You can find that info out on my Instagram or on my website.
Awesome.
I've hiccuped as I was saying website. So, but you got it.
And we'll add all that in
amazing.
the show notes. So you can just click right on those and check out the book and the tour. How do you choose what you're going to read on the book tour? Are you always reading the same chapter, or are you reading your audience of, I think
I've played around with it a bit and picked, I've got one that I know where it's tough. It's because it's you don't want there to be too much stuff you have to set up to be like, this guy's at this part of his journey and this is why this character is funny or whatever. So you got to go pretty early on in the story. There's a couple chapters that I usually pick, and they're either, there's one where they're plotting to steal the boat and it introduces a bunch of people. And then there's one where the main character jumps off of a fishing boat because he's decided that he's going to go back. And that one I usually read because it's just a bunch of the jokes are all fishing boat stuff. So that's what people want. You know, they want the Lunenburg humor. So yeah.
Great.
Well, thanks for being here. It's awesome to chat. And
I feel like I did most of the talking here, guys.
That's
so
the
As
point.
you should.
Yeah,
You're the guest.
the point.
But still, I still feel rude about it.
No,
That's very Nova Scotia of you.
we're getting to know you on a deeper level and giving you the platform to say whatever you want.
Thank you for platforming me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been platformed. Yes. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Check out the Great Lunenburglary. Yeah, there it is for those of you who are watching.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Don't know why you're doing it, but keep on doing it.
Cheers, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, folks. Woo.
Make It with Mike and Kristen is recorded and produced by Michael S. Ryan at Hot Jupiter Sounds.
Intro and outro music by me as well.
Cover art by Emily Rankin at Take Note Graphic Design, and photography by Candace Moore.
If you cool cats want to help us out, the best way to spread the word is by telling a friend about us. Tell your mom, tell all your buds. Word of mouth is still the best way to reach people. It's free for you and helps us immensely. And if you're into it, you can like and subscribe and all that stuff too.
Another way to support us is through our Patreon. We have a number of super fun tiers and perks like bonus content, handwritten postcards, creative coaching, and so much more. Find us at patreon.com/Mike and Kristen.
for the makers, the dreamers, and the figuring it outers. Have fun trying to make it out there, friends.